Okay, so let's take our first look at the Unity application itself. And remember I showed you how to open up your program file, find your version of Unity in the editor, and you can open it. If this is a little too cumbersome, once you get to this point, and usually when you do your download, a shortcut will appear on your desktop. If you'd like a shortcut, right-click on the executable file and select Create Shortcut. You'll get some dialog that you can't make it here. Would you like us to place it on your desktop? And you would select Yes. I already did this. So then I changed the name to what version I'm utilizing. So I'm going to go ahead and double click that particular shortcut there, and it's going to open up this wonderful little dialog box from Unity asking me what it is that I want to do. And because I've had other projects, these are listed here and where they're located in the path right here on a disk. If you save in the cloud, you would select cloud. For myself, I have not been using the cloud because I like to save things where I can get at them quickly and not use internet if at all possible. So I went to my on disk and I'm going to go ahead and open up my project folder, and that's the folder we created in the very beginning right down here. Oops, right there. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm just going to select that and it's going to open. Right, so we have that. Now I'm going to close that so you can see from the very start. So I'm going to select this 2017.1.1 version, and I'm going to actually click New. So New is going to say, what is the name of your project? And this is just an interface, oops, wrong finger on wrong key, interface stuff. So I'm not going to really name it. But if you want to find a place to save it, you would select those triple dots and then navigate to where you saved your project folder, select that folder, and it is now going to save the project in that folder that you created. So everything you do in Unity will be in that folder, so you don't have to search for it. And the organization name, well, you know, whatever there. And we're going to create a 2D for this class, so please select 2D and then create project. And then Unity will do its thing and it will open up a new project in a 2D feel to it. So let me minimize that and get it inside this record screen. And this is your first look at Unity. Let's just say it is. And usually this service tab will appear, and there are services with Unity that you can utilize. You can leave this open or right-click on it and close tab. So this, my friends, is the Unity application and the interface. What you're going to see here are several different windows, and each window represents a different format. So we have the basic Unity interface is the whole piece of the puzzle. Then you have your menus. Just like every other application, you have menus here. Now the first thing I think that you should probably do is to head down to Edit, Preferences, and when the Preference dialog box appears, select your external tool and make sure that the external script editor is set to the MonoDevelop. There's all different ones, so you want to make sure it's MonoDevelop because that is what we're going to use. And you can also, if you have your SDK, JDK, NDK installed, you can add those here. That's something for another class, so we won't go over that here. If you are comfortable with that, go ahead and do it. Now, my thing to do is colors. And the reason I come over to colors is because when you are working in the Unity application, when you select Run, which is the play option, you select Play, which is Run, 2 words, same thing. Whenever you do any edits in that run mode, nothing will be saved. So I like to change how my Unity appears when I select that, so I will know I'm in that mode and I need to get out of it before I make changes. So I come down to the colors here and my play mode tint. See, usually this is kind of a grayish. I changed it to this funky greenish color. So when I select play, my application has this wild green color. So I know that I can't make any changes. I can test things, but I can't make any changes or they won't stay. Next, under these menus, which you'll go more into later, are your basic move, center, all that good stuff. This little hand here moves things around with a click and a drag. This particular dual arrow means that you can select an object and move it up and down, back and forth, etc. This is your rotate, and this is your scale. And this little guy right here is usually used within the 2D application, and it shapes some other little doodads we'll take a look at later. We have over here a center and a pivot, and what that is when you select an object and you rotate something, is it going to rotate from the center or is it going to rotate from a pivot point? That's what that is. Local and global means that your game object will work in a global area or in a local. Most games are built within the local, however, there is a global aspect to it. So over here, as I stated, this is your play/run, and if you're playing the game, you can pause it or you can fast forward. So here's your collab. So the collab is a new thing for this version, and what it is you can upload a project to the cloud while you're collaborating with someone else. This is your cloud option here, gives you all those wonderful little services, tabs, so I'm going to close that tab again. Your account shows you're signed in. You can upgrade layers. Layers is very, very important in 2D games especially, because you want to make sure that things are, on top of other things so they don't get hidden. For example, let's say that you have a scene, and in the scene you have some waves down at the bottom, and then you see a person swimming in the waves. Now you wouldn't want that person on top of the wave, you would want it behind the wave. So that is a layer. These are layers. Alrighty, and then there's the layout option. What you're looking at right now is the basic layout. So I'm going to go to 2x3 split, and you see the change. Great change there. And then I'm going to go over here and do a 4 split. Now 4 split, as you can see, we're in 2D mode, so they're all 2D. If we were in 3D mode, this would look very different. And this particular view is very popular for folks who work in a 3D modeling kind of atmosphere. So then we'll come down, we have the default, and here's the tall look, and it shows the scene and the game together. And then you have the wide view. I usually go for the wide view. I kind of like it, but then I like to add my console down at the bottom, which you're not seeing here. So I'm going to go back to the default view, and you know what? Before I do that, you can actually make your own layout. You can click a tab/window and move it anywhere. Just like that. Click, tab. Oh, I think I'll move it up there. Maybe I like this up here. And then you could come over to your layouts and say save this layout. But I'm going to go back to the default layout. It just seems to work for now. And now we've got the layout, so we come down to the next area. This is where the fun begins. This is your hierarchy window, and I call them windows. Some people call them tabs, some people call them views. hierarchy view, hierarchy tab, hierarchy window. I will ask Unity which they prefer, and I'll get with you on the real technical term there. So usually when you create a new project, a main 2D project, a main camera will appear. 3D, there's two other things, lighting and main camera. So everything that you place within your scene will appear in the hierarchy. And this is where you can name things and file manage it and hook things together, parent them, and you'll learn all about those terms in a little bit. The Scene View window tab is where you build your game. The game is when you select that run option or play option, that's where it will appear. The asset store is this really great place where people who are so creative have brought in their work, and you can either get some for free or you can purchase it. And what I'm going to tell you right now, that being said, everything you bring into your project will create a larger file size. The larger the file size, the slower the game will run. So you want to be very, very specific about what you bring into your game. And over here on this side is what is known as the inspector window. So if you have a game object and you select it, everything about that game object is within the inspector window. And you can even add other components within that inspector window, and you can position, rotate, and scale over here. Moving on down, we have the project view / whatever. And this little area here is where you'll find all of your stuff that you bring into the project. And normally you bring this in within folders. So if I were to right click and create a folder, which is off of the recording screen, but if I were to do that and name this _scenes, _scenes, that means I have just created a scenes folder, and now I can save a scene in there. So I'm going to go File, Save Scene As, and it opens up my project folder and the project I'm working on and the assets folder, and there's my new scenes folder I created. So I'm going to open that up, and I'm just going to call this interface. So we're not really going to do anything. I'm just showing you some tips and tricks so you can utilize the application easier. And then under the console tab, which is something you will be using a lot of, this is where you get readouts when you're testing your scripts. This is where any errors will appear. This is all of that good stuff that you will need to know. It's all right there in this console. So that, my friends, is a really quick, down and dirty look at the Unity interface.